Hello my dear students and welcome back to Balaji Online Classes. Today I Fezia Kadwa is here to explain chapter number 9 Colonialism and Urban Change of class 8 History. The first topic of this chapter is deurbanization in the 19th century. What happened during 19th century? We saw a decline in the major cities and urban centers that were in our country. We are going to discuss the major causes that actually led this declination of cities and urban centers in India. The first and the major cause for this development was the lack of interest on the British part in the prosperity and economic development of India. Second reason was the Industrial Revolution in England that actually altered the complexion of urbanization in England and also in India at a later stage. Then also the negative attitude of Britishers towards the traditional industries of India, particularly the cotton textile industry, also the silk and woolen textiles, and also many other industries, traditional industries of India, which suffered the similar fate. Then the fourth cause is, and another major cause is the decline of urban centers of pre-British period was the introduction of network of railroads in India. By 1900, the rail network has been fully developed and connected all parts of the country with each other. Every railway station became a point of export of raw materials, thus depriving the old ports, the old centers from this thing, and there came a monopoly in the trade. The old ports, they basically lost their importance. Also, for example, we have Agra, Surat, Lucknow, Dhaka, Indore and Tanjore. They are mostly those ports which actually lost their glory. Some populous and flourishing industrial centers also became depopulated. Then we have the growth of towns under colonial rule. At many places in India, new towns developed during the period of colonialism. The major developed towns were in the cities, in the presidency cities like the Madras, Calcutta and Bombay. Also towns grew in the residencies like in Lucknow, Pune, Hyderabad. Then army cantonments also were set up to check foreign invasion and internal revolts that actually developed in the country. Then Britishers also built town in the hilly areas, and they basically used those areas during the hot and humid climate or in the summers of the plains, basically to get an escape from the hot and humid climate that basically exists in plain areas. They actually move homes in the hills, and they basically spend their summer time over the hilly areas. And the major hill centers were the Nainital, Mussoorie, Shimla, Darjeeling and Ooty. Then the tea and coffee plantation generated yet another type of settlement in the plains of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Assam. Then we have the differences between the old and the new urban centers. What happened traditionally the Indian towns and cities where we can define as a compact spaces. They were the compact spaces that were often enclosed by the fort walls surrounded by a deep moat. And many of the cities were called as walled cities. And why these moats and walls being developed around the city? Why? Because to protect the city from the invaders. They had high gates called darwazas, which were meant for people to go in and out from the city. These doors are kept locked and they are only opened occasionally. Each city was divided into thana or wards, and they are further divided into mohallas. Then the new towns and new cities which actually came up during the Britishers period. What was the difference between new and old town? We are going to discuss that. Basically, the difference between the new and old towns were on the basis of the size, their design, their layout, their population and their administration. Many of the new urban centers were much bigger than the old ones. The new cities had broad roads and open spaces in the form of lawns, parks and the playgrounds. These cities also had large public buildings like the government offices, the markets and the clock towers also appeared in these cities. Many of these cities had cantonments built on the European where different forces were there to check the foreign invasions. Then some of the cities, British period, such as in Madras, where the city was actually divided into two towns, into two areas. First is the white town that was basically inhabited by the Britishers, and the other was the black town that was inhabited by the native Indians. Then also we have a case study of an urban center, that is Delhi. Capital cities were built at the site of Delhi on the western bank of Yamuna River for over the more than 1000 years. Then in 1638, Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan laid the foundation of a new town which he named as Shahjahanabad, which today is called as Old Delhi. And the most two eye-catching buildings of this town were the Lal Qila, which is known as Red Fort, in which the palace of king was also built, and also the Jama Masjid, which is the Asia's largest mosque. Then there was a wide road that linked the Red Fort to the Lahori Gate, and this road was called as Chandni Chowk. Then the roads of these towns were basically had fountains, and they were covered with the shady trees, and also along with the length of these roads we had a bustling bazaars where different kinds of economic activities were carried on. Then Shahjahanabad had numerous gardens, places of worship, education institutions, and also the mausoleums. Then in December 1911, the coronation darbar was held at Delhi. And here, King George V announced the shifting of capital to Delhi. And the reason behind this was revealed that the Delhi is basically centrally located at the center, and also it has a healthy climate. But the real reason behind this was the growing freedom movement in Calcutta that actually pushed the Britishers to shift their capital from Calcutta to Delhi. Then we had two great architects who basically constructed this old city, who were the Sir Edwin Lutyens and Sir Herbert Baker. They both had a different but complementary vision. Lutyens sought to borrow from the architectural design of different cities, and Baker wanted to integrate local elements in his designs. And the major buildings that actually constructed by both of them were the Viceroy Palace, which is known as Rashtrapati Bhavan, Council Chamber, Parliament House, North Block, South Block, India Gate, Connaught Place, etc., and many other more buildings. In constructing government buildings, basically red and green sandstones were oftenly used. Then the India Gate is basically a majestic arc-shaped structure which is built in the memorial of the soldiers that were killed in the First World War. Then the Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is now the official residence of the President of India, it is located on the hill which is called as Rasina Hill, at the one end of the long road called Rajpath in the heart of the New Delhi. Also originally called as Viceroy Palace, the Rashtrapati Bhavan was the residence of British Viceroy of India earlier during the British time. Then this huge palace-like building is a peculiar synthesis of the Islamic, Hindu and European architectural styles. Means it has a blend of all these three kind of architectural designs. Then during the British days, it is said that over 2000 servants looked after this building. This building is such huge, and it has at least 340 rooms. So basically 2000 servants were there to look after this building. Now, but in recent decades, the city has got major changes. It actually changed its original character. Many old British buildings were either demolished or they have been renovated. Also, new commercial and residential buildings have been constructed in order to cater the needs of the increasing population. So, this continuous influx of people from other parts of the country, and also the continuous changes in the original structure or original architecture of the city actually changed the city and made Delhi into a commercial capital of present day India. So with this topic class, your chapter ends here. Now it is your responsibility to read this chapter properly. Also you have to learn all the difficult words. Then you can get the notes of this chapter through a School Mitra app. Kindly download those PDF and complete your work. Thank you and have a nice day.